little kid who is she going to be the bad guy? I mean, come on. Also, she has a Usami slash Monami hairpin. There will absolutely be references to Danganronpa because Spike's Chunsoft, even in the Somnium Files games, they love referencing their franchises because it's just a fun thing. Even in fucking Zenki Zero, and who the fuck played Zenki Zero other than me? Fucking no one. Hello, welcome. Today we will be looking through the new, it's not even a trailer, it's like a segment of the Nintendo Direct that was about Master Detective Archives Raincode, which is a way too long of a title, but it's the new game by the creator of Danganronpa, well, and also several other people who were involved in Danganronpa, not just him, of course. I know this is a topic I've covered very lightly on, like I've talked about Danganronpa a few times on my YouTube channel. I know my YouTube channel is very much focused on cartoons, but on the gaming side of things, Danganronpa and these sorts of mystery visual novel adventure games are like my favorite thing ever. So I'm like beyond excited and was extremely surprised to even see this show up today about this game. So I'm gonna run through this trailer, talk about it, because I feel like not that many people are gonna be talking about it. For several reasons, it seems like Danganronpa has fallen out of popularity, both from just being kind of an old series and because of other things. So this doesn't really seem like news that is surprising as many people as I think it would be, you know? And I don't think many other people are going to be covering it. And if people are going to be covering it, you know, they're going to be covering it for the meme, you know, because like, oh, it's Nagito again, you know, things like that. Like, I fell in love with the Danganronpa series, like, of my own interest. Like, I saw it being played and I love Ace Attorney, so I saw it being played and I was like, oh, that looks like I'll love it. And then I played it and I loved it. And then I went online and saw what the online reception of it is, and it has continues to upset me that something I like so much is treated the ways that it is. But whatever, I don't really want to talk about that kind of stuff. I want to just have some positivity about this because I'm very excited about it, and I want to be able to teach some other people about it, what might be going on with it, because this trailer isn't the clearest really, and I just know that a lot of people aren't really going to hear this news until it's too late. You know, games like this, even Danganronpa itself, you know, they really kind of go under the radar. Not many people know about them. Most people who know about Danganronpa have never actually even played the games. Like, so I want to be able to promote this and just share it as much as possible because I'm very interested in it personally. And I know that the production companies tend to not do much of a good job of doing that. I know most people don't know, but after Danganronpa, the lead creator and character designer for the series both left Spike Chunsoft to start their own company called Tokyo Games. They've put out a handful of things, including the Akudama Drive anime, the game World's End Club, the series Tribe 9, which just released an anime this year and will soon be getting its own mobile game. They also made Death Come True, which is a short live-action choose-your-own-adventure movie game that also seems like it is really unknown. And now I called it the wrong thing again. And now Master Detective Archives Raincode is too long of a title, man. Which they're making in collaboration with Spike Chunsoft because it's very on brand. It definitely seems like this studio they've started themselves is one that they just mean so that they can have more creative control over their concepts, and then they ship out their idea to other studios to make it for them. Like even World's End Club and like the Tribe 9 games, like those weren't made by their studio. All their studio did was conceptualize it and then had another studio produce it. So that's basically what's going on here too, I would assume. So I'm about to go off for way too long, and I apologize for that, but I'm excited and I want to do my best to get some other people excited and hopefully notice some new things in this trailer. So if you're excited about this game, let me know. And I mean, if you're not excited about this game, did you like this Nintendo Direct? Like, was there other news here that you're looking forward to? Be sure to leave some comments and leave a like on the video because that will help my channel be discovered by other viewers. Anyways, so let's take a look. He says take a look, implying that he hasn't already watched this like 4 times. So the thing to start off here, this game was announced I believe last year because they did like a Danganronpa anniversary presentation and they revealed this game during that, and not even that many people knew about it or had forgotten about that announcement over time because it was quite a long time ago. So the first 2 shots of this trailer were literally just from that older trailer, but pretty much everything here is new. And the older trailer barely gave us details, it just gave us visuals that I love. You know, that's what's hooking me the most about this game is the art direction, but that's also what hooked me the most about Danganronpa as well. There's our our villain. They talk about like cases, so you know it'll probably be chapter structured like Danganronpa is, and that guy with the cigar who we also see later as like a boss fight in the dream world or whatever, you know, he's probably the villain of like the first case, and they're never gonna have a trailer showing anything beyond the first case because they don't want to spoil stuff. Like that's how every game of this sort of genre is. Here we are introduced to the master detectives, which I guess, you know, are going to be the best detectives in the world. Very original concept. That's what surprises me about this trailer, honestly, is that it's so similar to Danganronpa, because from the first trailer, the only really, like, we saw a crime scene investigation in a 3D environment, and that was it. So I really didn't know what kind of direction this game was going to be, but it literally seems like, we'll even see it later in the trailer, of course, that it is just Danganronpa with a fresh coat of paint and plot, which I can see being a bothersome thing for some people, but the freaking coat of paint that's over it is so cool to me. So I'm totally for it, and I've been very hungry for more games like that. So I have no problem with that. Sort of the gameplay ended up being similar, but I was just wondering what it was going to end up being like. It definitely seems like it's just the same sort of you know, solving mysteries by punching words and shooting at them and things like that. So there's like a home base area for the master detectives. Only the protagonist has a name. His name is Yuma Kokohead, which Kokohead is a very curious name. We don't know the names of any of these characters yet. We don't even know how plot significant these other characters are going to be. But I mean, given how Danganronpa is and how visual novels of this style usually are, you know, there's got to be free time events and stuff with all of them. Something about this little girl strikes me as like she would be the shopkeeper. I don't know why I think that. Also, wait, she has like a somewhat Easter eggy thing on her design. If I can go back a little, I guess we could just run through all of them. We have Catboy. I mean, there's ghosts in the universe, so maybe he's actually a Catboy. We have Not Miu. She's my favorite one. Guy. Old guy. And little kid who is she gonna be the bad guy? I mean, come on, right? Is she gonna be the bad? But that's what I was, the way that she's posing here sipping tea, this look like I could see like a shop UI overlaid over this. I don't, it's probably not anything like that, but I mean, Danganronpa did have a shop, so I don't know, but like I can see her being like the character who gives you tips or something if you need to come back here for tips or whatever. But also she's probably the bad guy. Also, she has a Usami / Monami hairpin. Like it's at an angle, so you can't see if the other half is pink, but like it definitely is that exact same style of drawing a bunny. So it's either just like a subtle, it's an intentional reference, which like this is absolutely a new IP. I guess I should have started the video by saying that. This is a totally new thing that will not tie into the Danganronpa storyline at all. It would be really weird if it did, because there's nothing to signify that it would other than it looking the same. There will absolutely be references to Danganronpa because Chunsoft, even in the Somnium Files games, they love referencing their franchises because it's just a fun thing. Even in fucking Zenki Zero, and who the fuck played Zenki Zero other than me? Fucking no one. So there's bound to be Danganronpa references here. They could play at a same universe thing, sort of, but like it's not like Junko's not gonna show up. Okay. Like the Shinigami lady might look exactly like Junko according to some people, but like Junko's not gonna be in the game, probably. If she is, I don't know what I'll do with myself, but yeah, so there's our detective. Also, she has nails. That's a stupid thing to point out, but like when the first trailer initially came out, people were like, oh wow, it's like Ultra Despair Girls but better. I mean, yeah, like the way they've took the style from 2D to 3D is pretty damn flawless. Like it's amazing looking here, especially compared to Despair Girls. But Despair Girls was probably made on a very, very tight budget, and Chunsoft probably didn't have much experience with 3D modeling to begin with. Anyway, there's our title card. I've been talking that much, we didn't make the title card. So here he, like, this must, I mean, so it doesn't even say his name, so this is like from when you first boot up the game, him waking up in a robot closet, doesn't remember his name. He's a amnesiac detective. Like, yes, very original concept. The main character never has memories in these games. Even back on Famicom Detective Club, like the first fucking detective visual novel ever made, you had amnesia in that. So that's just a trope that's never going to go away. But the protagonist's tie to the greater story is always interesting. The character forgetting what's happening is definitely an obvious recurring trope, but the way that they end up tying that into the plot always fucking surprises me. So That's not an aspect I'm confused about. He also has a ehoge. That's what you call it, right? Or is that is ehoge the word for antenna hair or the word for the hentai face? Because they both are spelled similarly. But his little antenna hair is shaped like a question mark, which I don't know. I would hope that's obvious. It's very apparent. She says taking root. That's highlighted. That's probably just highlighted because it's like a intentional reference to some other plot aspect that we'll figure out later. Also, the speaker talks over the trailer the whole time, but there's an English dub going on. The game is dubbed in English, which is a nice, I guess I wouldn't say surprise, because Spike Chunsoft has been dubbing all their stuff since Danganronpa, even Zenki Zero. You know? Other recent series, the Somnia Files, is fully voice acted. Like, the only things that aren't voice acted in Somnia Files are the characters' internal thoughts, and I don't even know why those aren't voice acted. Probably saves them a little bit of money, but even like optional dialogue is voice acted. So I think that's going to be a precedent that Spike Chunsoft and like any other visual novel creators are going to be taking into the future, where the stories are going to be fully dubbed. Even when you're like reading optional comedy dialogue, everything will be spoken. And that's just a really great, like, that just adds to humor a lot of the times. Like, the voice acting and delivery in these games is always surprisingly really great. But that's also just something that I think will help with accessibility, because some people will look at these games and be like, oh, I don't want to read for 20 hours. Well, in the case of this game and several other more recent ones, you don't. Like, it's all spoken. Also, her name is Shinigami. If you've seen Death Note, that's just like a Japanese death god. Like, it's not necessarily a name. We can't really tell who's talking here. It could be the protagonist. Like, this could be him seeing her in human form for the first time. So he clearly recognizes her somehow. So like, I guess she's a demon, it says specifically. Like, all that stuff is known in this fictional universe. We also have some sort of lightsaber guard back here. And they're definitely in like a train station, right? We have another guy. He's got a clean shirt. He's got blood on it. He looks very similar to someone from Tribe 9, which I guess I should have mentioned at the start of the video. It's something else that this creator is currently working on that nobody knows about. It's possible he's also a master detective character. He didn't seem to show up at that other scene unless he's the cat guy. Then we have this little gremlin guy sitting like a cat. Twitter seems to like him. So, Rutro. He doesn't strike me as like a Nagito character. He strikes me as like he's gonna rub underneath his nose when he's like embarrassed, you know, like that. Like, he's a very like shonen deceiving sort of character. I mean, so is the protag. Also, I'm noticing here too, like, now that I can sit back and digest it a little more, you can definitely see like that. That's not like a blur, that's like a rendering thing. So like, this is the Switch version of the game that they're showing here, I would assume, which I guess that's a whole other I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place with topics, but the biggest news kind of from this direct is that this game is going to be a Switch launch exclusive. But that doesn't mean it's only on Switch, because I think back when they first announced it, they said it'll be coming to all sorts of consoles, either because they saw how well Danganronpa sold on Switch, or because Nintendo slid them some money. They're going to be putting this on to Switch first, and then they've been pretty good at like their limited time stuff. Like, I think Danganronpa S came out on consoles like 6 months after the Switch one came out. So I mean, yes, that's still a long time, and this like exclusivity stuff is always annoying, but this will come to other consoles later if you're patient and you don't have a Switch and don't want to play it on Switch. My concern is that I don't want to play it on Switch because not even Danganronpa ran well on Switch. And Danganronpa is a fucking 2.5D game, and it ran very poorly on Switch, so it's concerning. But if they have the courage to say it's going to be launch exclusive, and there's seemingly should be, with the way the rendering here looks like, they're seemingly probably showing the Switch version of the game right now. I would hope that it will have significantly better performance. Like, I would hope that this is being built for the Switch. Then our first glimpse at the actual gameplay, there's a mini map, free roaming this hub sort of area. I would guess this is like an information gathering segment. Like, this isn't you know, sort of, I guess people compare it to Persona, so like this is a Persona-esque segment where you're just going to talk to people for some answers and stuff. And here this reveals his last name, Kokohead, which, you know, we could make some jokes about that, sure. We also see the portrait artwork, which looks amazing to me. This like purple coloring that is covering the whole game is so nice to me. Like, it's so aesthetically pleasing to me. Part of me, it seems like something happened at the clock tower. Do you know anything about it? So we got a clock tower mystery is our first mystery, and you could hear there's voice acting when this is being read as well, and there's a key as like the next dialogue option button, and we see keys later. Like, keys seem like they're going to be the equivalent of truth bullets in this game. Maybe there's some further lore to it, controlling the spirit world or whatever it was.
To gather clues and evidence.
Some investigating here. Magazines scattered across the desk. No, what else does it say? And they go into the mystery labyrinth. Which again, just like this portrait artwork is just so clean. I'm so obsessed with it. This is a mystery lab. It's a maze that materializes when there's murders or something. Then we get a glimpse at one of our mini games, which seems like it's very similar to Psyche Drive and stuff like that. So who was the last person to die during this incident? Spoilers. So the culprit, Shinigami Yuma. So this is clearly the tutorial mission because obviously the culprit has to be the answer because you're playing as them. Although I guess Yuma could, that could be a plot twist later. That Yuma is dead the whole time or something. And yeah, it's just simple multiple choice. Maybe eventually you run into like a barrier and you have to mash a button or something. You know, it's just cool. It's just cool art direction, you know, because at the end of the day, whenever at any game, like all games are nothing but looking at a screen and pressing buttons. So it's the way that they can make the pressing of the buttons feel satisfying that makes it fun and interesting. Ultimately, I hear a lot of people seemingly don't like the class trials in Danganronpa, even though that's the whole game and that's like my favorite thing about them. But the class trials are no different than Ace Attorney gameplay. It's just Ace Attorney's, you know, cross-examinations, but turned into like a arcadey style shooter game that is just visually looks a little more complicated than it is, but all you're doing is pressing one button to hit words. Like, it's not too difficult unless you put on the hard setting or you play through the game not knowing that you can destroy the white noise like my sister did, and hopefully not too many other people do. Yeah, this is just a glimpse at that's some sort of other mini game segment. This is a no comment. Yeah, no comment. I wonder what that could be though, because the fact that they're showing it in the trailer, it's either like they felt it was a cutesy fan service thing to insert, or that's going to be a reoccurring, like that ties into one of the mini games somehow, or if that was just like a one-off joke scene thing. Honestly, I would expect that was probably part of one of the mini games. Then we get our first glimpse at a boss fight, which is in like a boxing cage of some sort. Seems honestly kind of Splatoon-esque to me, and there's a Splatoon references in Danganronpa V3, so it's possible that you look to that for the inspiration for this.
However, mystery phantoms will attempt.
But then we'll see that. So he's called a mystery phantom. He doesn't have a name, which I guess prevents it from spoiling stuff. Your deduction is wrong, so we go, that's wrong again. Then we see. So this basically a rebuttal showdown, but it just has a different visual presentation to make it seem like a boss fight, which is pretty badass to me. Just try to look back and read what it says. You're the only one who could have done the crime or something like that, it says. And then we get our no, that's wrong art, which again, like it's so clean. And he has this key sword. Like there's no lore explanation for that stuff in this trailer, but we see in the corner too, I missed pointing that out, you're swinging with a certain blade. Again, it's like Rebuttal Showdown, but way more literal. I mean, Sora has a keyblade, right? That's what it is. But this is like a lock blade. It's not necessarily the key, sort of. And there's also this eyeball symbol on here, which that blue hair guy earlier had that on him. That must just be something that relates to the demon realm of this world. We get a fan service shot. See, she has nails too. Like that kind of detail is just so nice to see after how fucking weird Ultra Despair Girls looks. Also, I mean, yeah, he still has a health bar here. Whoever was playtesting this lost all their health. The health bar you see on the other screenshot, or the other scene with the boss fight, like his facial expression on the health bar will change as it goes down, and I think that's just a really cute detail, especially because the portrait artwork is so nice to me. But this must just be like a final blow animation, although the background's different. I know in the initial trailer we see him like land on like a floating platform somewhere, so this is definitely that kind of scene. But it's probably considering the health bar, it's probably just part of that same sort of boss fight sequence, or like another phase of it. We get him slashing down, and then we get our release date. And it says, I guess hashtag raincode's what they want you to be using, because this title, the original title, was Enigma Archives Raincode. And after this direct, I kept looking that up and there was no results because they changed the name to Master Detective Archives, which clearly makes more sense. But, and weirdly, even though it's more words, does sound better than Enigma Archives. But this is still a bit too long of a title, and Raincode I feel like isn't a word that's exclusive to this game's title. So I think the fan base has to come up with a way to like signify this, because Danganronpa, that's just a like what else is Danganronpa? Like that's just a weird word, and that's what it's called. So it's very easy to recognize the series from that. Calling this game something like this is going to make it a little harder to make it searchable and iconic, especially when it's seemingly going kind of under the radar. And it's coming spring 2023. So it was going to come out around the same time as Pikmin 4. What the heck? I got some good games coming out. And then launching first on Nintendo Switch. But they say first. So there's a lot of things to take from that exclusivity. It's either Nintendo wants Spike Chunsoft to make it exclusive, or Spike Chunsoft knows that the Switch is where their market base currently is. So they want to put it onto Switch because they know that's what will sell the most. And then people who like are waiting for it on PlayStation or Steam, they know that those people might cave and just get it on Switch anyways. The problem with that is that the Switch version, no matter what, it hopefully will run good, but the Switch version, no matter what, will be the worst version just because the Switch hardware isn't that good. Also, hopefully this gets a physical release. I would assume it does. But that's the biggest concern I have, is that like hopefully it runs good and the game doesn't get like demolished in ratings and stuff because it doesn't perform well on the Switch. Because once they put it on PlayStation or Steam and Xbox, it will totally run fine. But Spike definitely is like trying to put their fangs into the Switch right now because they realize that's a huge market for anime style games. I mean, look at this direct, you know, everyone's complaining about the farming games, but they're putting so much of that stuff on Switch because that sells so much on Switch, you know, especially with teens and younger people these days really loving and getting into anime. And they all have Switches because it's such like a easily accessible console. Like anime on Switch is a big thing. So Spike wants to capitalize on that by doing this exclusivity. Whether or not, I almost doubt, you know, I feel like Nintendo didn't even give them money to make it exclusive. I feel like they're making it exclusive themselves, but that's my theory, and there's no way to ever have an answer for it. Because even when Somnia Files Nirvana Initiative came out earlier this year, I was hunting for a physical copy in my area in stores, and I could only find Switch copies. There was one store like several miles away from where I live that had a few copies of the PS4 version, but that was it. No stores had the Xbox version physically in stock. They only had the Switch version in stock, and that's probably because Spike Chunsoft expected that one to be the version that people were going to buy. And it's probably true, but it's also kind of unfortunate on the Switch's side of things that the hardware just isn't good enough for these sorts of games. You know, and yeah, at the end of the day, it's just a game that's reading text, but it's a game of reading text that's supported by really strong visual aesthetics, and those aesthetics aren't able to come true enough if there's going to be frame rate drops or intentionally low resolutions on certain assets and stuff. But I'm probably the only person who cares about that anyways. People just want to play the damn games or just watch people on YouTube play the damn games anyways. Also, just a few things that sort of I want to mention after the trailer. In the key art for the game, that was shown off before when the game was announced, but I'll just show it again because the direct didn't show the full image, and it's a freaking awesome image. There's all these like geometric ghost characters here, and they have question mark little Ehoges too. So I think there's probably some sort of plot element where Yuma can turn into a ghost too, or something. We don't see these little characters anywhere in this trailer, so I'm curious to know what's up with them. Also, we see Yuma is holding a key in this art, which is something we have a bit more context for now because we know that he has like a locked sword and like the keys are, I don't know, truth keys or something that are going to help solve the mysteries and stuff. Like the whole game seems to have keys as a motif. Also, a few other screenshots were shared somewhere. I don't really know where, but these are totally new screenshots that I don't remember seeing in this direct video. And also another very important update. There's now an eShop listing for the game, and it shows off that it's going to be available in multiple languages. So at launch, the game will be available in English, Japanese, French, German, Spanish, and Italian. I'm not sure which of these is. It definitely will have an English and Japanese dub. I don't know if they'll have dubs in other languages. I think their game World's End Club had dubs in other languages. I'm not 100% sure about that, but it will at least be available with full text in these other languages listed here, which is really amazing. You know, I'm an English speaker, so I'm not too aware of how often games aren't translated into other languages, but it's definitely, especially Ace Attorney. I remember when Ace Attorney came out, tons of people were complaining that it wasn't getting translated to certain languages. So it's pretty cool to see that Spike Chunsoft will be taking that direction to make the game much more accessible to even more people. Okay, actually, some of those screenshots came from the official website and probably like a press release or something. So now there's an official website for the game from Spike Chunsoft. It's not too detailed right now, but there is actually a plot description and a bit of gameplay description here, so I guess I'll just read that. Master Detectives versus Mega Corporation. A city of Rain is gripped by innumerable unsolved mysteries. Under the complete control of a mega corporation, master detectives from around the world, each possessing unique powers, must rise to the challenge of uncovering the truth. With Shinigami by his side, Yuma joins the investigation as a trainee of the detective agency. Travel freely within the fully 3D environment of the city to gather evidence and testimonies. Now, we don't know how much freedom that is. I would assume there's probably going to be a set amount of, like, it'll be almost exactly like Persona, like set sort of hub areas that you just go between, not like a massive open world thing. You wouldn't want a massive open world thing in a game like this. That's pretty just a clear-cut detective thing. You know, it's not LA Noire we're playing here. Enter the Mystery Labyrinth, a unique and offbeat puzzle-solving experience. As the investigation progresses, a realm known as the Mystery Labyrinth will appear, creating a path towards the truth. Once inside, however, the mysteries shrouding the case materialize as gimmicks and traps, lying in wait to consume Yuma. The rules of reality don't apply here. Delve into the ever-changing Mystery Labyrinth and get to the heart of the case. Which, I love the sound of that, because the art direction and weirdness of that Mystery Labyrinth thing looks so cool, so I'm curious to see what sorts of unique environments come from that. Again, you know, maybe Persona-esque, where it's like dungeons, and every dungeon is very different, but we'll have to see. It also says the game is in the adventure genre, and doesn't have a price. It's only coming to Switch first, and it's also not rated yet, but it says everywhere that the rating will likely be mature, so 17 plus or 18 plus in other countries, which is a great sign for me, because I love when these games get as dark as possible. Yuma is gonna say, fuck, let's go. I was concerned they wouldn't go a mature direction because, like, for one thing, the protagonist seems like he's, like, actually young, like, maybe, like, 12 or younger, at least visually anyways. And also, when Somnia Files 2 was coming out, they had a lot of advertisement there where they were talking about trying to tone that game down so it was less, like, jarringly mature. I have no idea why they were trying to advertise it like that, because Nirvana Initiative is, like, just as vulgar and violent as the first game. There's less visual gore and stuff compared to the first game, but the dialogue is still just as, like, full of swears and raunchy jokes and stuff. So I don't know, like, that had me worried that they realized these games appeal to more like a teenage audience, so they were going to try to make things more teenager-esque, even though teenagers have no problem with violence at all. But no, it totally looks like from the pending rating and stuff here, like they're going to continue to go all in on making these mature rated games, which is very good to me. So yeah, there we go. There's 30 minutes of me talking about a minute and 30 second long Nintendo Direct segment for a game that I'm extremely excited about. I hope that all you guys end up being excited as well. I will keep you posted on YouTube and primarily TikTok if you want to look at my TikTok, where I talk about games like this a lot, because like I was saying with the Switch, you know, the people on Switch love anime, people on TikTok love anime, so that's where I'm mostly talking about this sort of content. But if you want to see more news updates about this, just stay tuned to all my social feeds, because I'm very, very hyped about this game, and I know for a fact that very few people are going to talk about it, because very few people are talking about the other stuff that this creative team has been working on. So please stay tuned. I hope you're excited. I mean, you wouldn't have watched this whole video if you weren't excited, hopefully. I mean, hopefully I could teach you some new stuff. I could help get you excited. And just hopefully you enjoyed this Nintendo Direct, because it was a weird one. But there's stuff like this, Fire Emblem, Pikmin freaking 4, really, really hyped me. And fucking Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Why are they I don't even understand why they're making that, other than wanting a new 2D Kirby game, but I'm super excited about that. Anyways, I guess I'll end the video there. Thanks for watching, and again, subscribe and stay tuned for more videos like this.